When Christians Fight the Last War. All right, so I just got done reading Inventing the Flat Earth by Jeffrey Burton Russell, and I highly recommend you read that book. He turns out he's a Christian apologist of some renown from back 30, 35 years ago or so. He might still be alive, I don't know. He did a lot of writing on medieval times. He's a medievalist. Satan and evil and stuff. Very interesting. So I'm looking forward to getting his next book because I like the way he writes as a historian. He writes engagingly, but also informatively as well. Anyway, so just such a great book. And again, the whole premise was that there is in the 18th, basically the latter, right around Darwinism time, the Enlightenment in France going into Darwinism time. There's this great change in philosophy to scourge the world of Christianity as being idiotic, essentially. And the way they do that is they basically said, oh, look at these two people from ancient times, that ancient times being when the 3rd and 4th century and whatnot, who thought the world was flat, and thus we're going to attribute the entirety of Christianity at the world of Catholicism, but still Christianity, of secularists or humanists, if they like to be called, that the world is flat. Thus, if you believe in Christianity, you believe in mythology, and you're basically an ignoramus. All right, and so it's idiotic. It's simply not true, but that's the way we are today. Basically, a lot of people say, "Oh, you believe in that spaghetti monster in the sky? You must believe in a flat Earth." The whole thing is just stupid, but it retains its authority because humanists dominate the academia, they dominate media, they just dominate entertainment. It's just a sick culture, man. There's no two ways around that. And Jeffrey Burton Russell did a lot to arrest that idea and knock it back. But be it as it may, we don't control anything they do, so they get a chance to spout their lies. Sadly, there's a quote in there where he talks about how the Protestants, because the Protestants were anti-Catholic, Catholics were anti-Protestants, where the Protestants also use the same falsehood to bash Catholicism as flat earthers and stupid. And they just, again, they did the work of the humanist. I call them the secularist. It's just as sad. Anyway, it made me think of when Maddie was a babe. All right, and my wife, we weren't making any money back then. This is the early 2000s. We had just moved from Phoenix back to Virginia. We're renting a house. We just weren't making any money, you know what I'm saying? And Charlotte took a job part-time as a bank teller while I was working as a bank. It's a different bank, but she was a bank teller at Bank of America. I was working at a bank, First Union Bank, as a platform rep, and we just weren't making any money, man. And we had debts, student loans, car loans. We actually maybe by then we did have a mortgage. I can't remember. Be as it may. I think we're making $35,000 a year between us. But she took a job part time, and we had this preschool, childcare. That's what it was, childcare facility, a childcare group, and the people were Baptist. And I'll never forget going to pick her up a couple times. This anti-Catholic, just anti-papal. Vatican stuff, these piece of literature all over there, and I was actually offended. I was like, dude, what? Because I was never outright a straight Catholic. I was born I don't even say I was raised Catholic. We went to church on Easter. That was it. Now I never got confirmed. I did get my first communion when I was 12 years old, which is a whole lot older than most kids. Probably just to appease my granddad, who was a stout Catholic. But we just never went to church or anything. You know what I'm saying? We just weren't Catholics, we just weren't, man. I wouldn't say we're atheists. We just were probably secularist liberal, if that makes sense. Anyway, I've been Catholic kind of in name only, and I still kind of am. I'm still Catholic. The nice thing about being a Catholic is kind of like every church is the same for the most part. When you have to do the calisthenics, get up, get down, get on your knees, get up, get down, get on your knees. It's It's kind of like, if you're traveling to a foreign city, or a city is foreign to you, we'll say Seattle, McDonald's, what's going to be on the menu. You know exactly how it's going to taste. You know it's going to be consistent, and it's crap. You just know that. But at least you know it's consistent, and you don't have to worry about anything. You know how to do it. And the same thing with Catholic Church. And I've gone to other non-denominational churches, or even Methodist churches, UMC, United Methodist Church, Dayton United Methodist Church, and a Presbyterian church. And it's just all different in terms of how they do communion, what you're supposed to, it's kind of confusing because you don't know what to get. I went to North Point Church down here with Andy Stanley. It's like a rock concert. It's like, man, I don't like that. I love Andy Stanley as a preacher. Anyway, the point being is like, I remember seeing this literature. I was like, why are you doing this, man? Like, I was like, even back then, I was like, how can you not see the war for what it is? It's not amongst ourselves. It's against the secularists. I mean, even then I couldn't believe it. I was, 31, 32 with one babe? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I'm not, and, I've always been a believer in Jesus. Always been, maybe people say, oh, that's where you're born. Maybe, I don't care. It matters not. I mean, up to that point, sure. But when I had Chloe and I had the Holy Spirit talk to me, that changed everything. But anyway, up to that, I was like, still believed in Jesus, and I still love God. I still said my prayers. And I still read the Bible, just on my own accord, because it's interesting to me, and I did have a faith that was not put in there by my parents that I can attribute to. Anyway, but then I forget, so why are we fighting this battle amongst ourselves? I wonder if Muslims do this, Sunnis and Sufis and whatnot. I wonder if, I don't know all the different denominations of Muslims, but I wonder if, Muslims, why are we fighting amongst ourselves? Don't you see? We are yesterday's war. The war today is against the secularists. It's so frustrating. They hate us. And some people hate our own more than we hate the people who hate us. It's the weirdest thing. The enemy of my enemy is my enemy. It's almost like some people in Catholicism, Catholics do the same. I hate those people so much more. I'm willing to throw in with a secularist. I don't get it. But look, we have different opinions. There's 72 books in the Bible for Catholics, 66 for Protestants. All right, but we still believe in the Bible. The secularists don't. Why are we battling among that when the battle is for the Christianity as a whole? It's crazy. Anyway, fighting yesterday's war just advanced the cause of secularism. It is sad. All right, we'll see you.